Yeah, this concept is known as overloading. That is, the name remains same, but the number of parameters which you pass on, they differ. Okay, the names, they remain same, but the number of parameters which you pass on into the constructor, right, they differ. And overloading is a very important thing, right? If you write over here system.out.println inside overloaded constructor, right? Now when from my test laptop.java I create an object, I write over here laptop L3 equals to new laptop, right? You can pass over the model number and your serial number on the fly. That is, you can pass over, you can create the object as well as initialize all the properties by passing over these two things inside the constructor. Okay, and inside the constructor all I need to write is that this model number is equal to M, which is passed over in this constructor, and the serial number is equal to S. Okay, the serial number is here. So whenever I create the object, now the objects would be created on the fly, and their values would also be initialized. Okay, all the properties of the objects would also be initialized. I won't have to write separate lines to initialize every object. Okay, so what I told you was there are constructors. Constructors, they help you to initialize the objects. Okay, you can overload the constructors. Maybe I can make one more overloaded constructor over here if I want. I can write over here public laptop, which will just accept the model number. It will not accept the serial number, right? You will have to write model equals to M in it. This constructor initializes only half the object. Okay, if you just okay, if you if you go out here in your test laptop, you can create another object of the laptop class, but that object would only be initialized to only a half a level, right? So similarly, let's come back to the Firefox profiling concept, okay, and see how we can use Firefox profiling out here. Okay, now inside Selenium API, there is a class known as profiles ini. Okay, this is the internal class. I am going to create the object of this class. You import this class. Now this profile ini class, it represents all the Firefox profiles of your machine. In your machine, if I have created 10-15 Firefox profiles, right now only 2, right? But if I create more, then all the profiles which are there in my machine, it represents those profiles. If I create the object of this class, then what happens is that all those profiles are loaded in this object automatically behind the scenes. Selenium does this. Profiles ini class does this. This is an internal class inside API, just like Firefox does. And you need to write all profiles dot. There is a function called get profile. Get the profile called, Selenium, right? So this is the profile, right, which I created. Selenium. S is small, right? S is small. Make sure you give S as small. And whatever name you are giving, make sure that it's case sensitive. You can give any name and you give the right one. Okay. And this function returns you an object of an internal class known as Firefox profile. Okay. So this class will return you another object of an internal class called Firefox profile. I'll name it my profile equals to this. So this line, it represents all the profiles on your machine. It loads all profiles. And this class out here, this function over here returns you the Selenium profile from all the profiles. And if you look at Firefox profile class in the documentation, hold on, I'll open Google and I write Selenium download. And I go to the Java docs out here, and if you look at the class Firefox driver, this class, then this class has got constructors. So you look at constructor summary. These are all the overloaded constructors we have for Firefox driver. This is the one which we just used. Okay, we normally use. Now there is another Firefox driver constructor which accepts the profile of Firefox which you want to open. The last one. Okay. So out here I have the profile object from Firefox profile. So you just need to pass that profile inside the constructor. That's it. So when you run this now, a Selenium Firefox profile from your local machine will be opening up. You see that this profile opens up and you have got Firebug in it, right? This is important because many times you need to investigate on the page on which the testing is happening using Selenium, right? So that's why, and many times if you have to use proxy and all, this profiling comes up into the picture. If you have to handle certificate errors, you need to test HTTPS websites, secure websites, then you need to have this profiling concept with you. I'll talk about it in coming time. Fine. Now, this is about Firefox, right? I only talked about Firefox, right? How to execute this code on Firefox, how to get the XPath. Now, what if I want to execute the code on IE or Chrome? Will this code work? The answer is yes, because if the page source is remaining same, it is not dependent on the browser. You just need to change the browser name over here and run. And in most of the cases, the website it opens in the same way in all the browsers and the page source remains same. If the page source is remaining same, the element properties in the XPath will remain same. Right? Okay. So you can do that. You can make the code on Firefox, get the XPath on Firefox and make it run on Chrome and IE. But in case, suppose your website is not working in Firefox, if your website is actually not supported in Firefox, how do you get the XPaths in Chrome? Suppose I open up Chrome and on Chrome I go to the site in.rediff.com. Okay. Now in Chrome I told you, right, you can right click on the element and go to inspect element. This is the particular element, this one. Okay. If you right click on it, you will get the option copy XPath. So you can get the XPath from Chrome as well by first moving over to the element, for example, FDI in retail. I right click on it, inspect element, and if you right click on it and you can copy the XPath like this. Okay, you can copy the XPath, and if you look at the XPath, you will get an XPath like this. Instead of double quotes, the only thing is you need to put single quotes. That's it. This is how you do it in Chrome. Fine. Now, what about in I? In I, you have to go to the page source and calculate it manually. There is no tool in I which will tell you the XPath. Okay. In Chrome you can get, in Mozilla you can get, but in I you will not get any tool which gives you the XPath. But generally you can get it in Mozilla, you can find out the XPath in Chrome and try to use the XPath in I. Right? So that's how you use it. That's what the concept of Firefox profiling is. That's what constructors are. So we saw all these things today, right? And I'll stop here because the next topic which I'm going to take, how to manage test cases, and like if I have to go to a page, validate something, do the validations and all, make the reports and all using a test NG or JUnit framework, I want to tell you about that. I don't have enough time to start that topic now because that requires a lot of time. So we'll meet again. Tomorrow is Saturday in India, Friday in US. Tomorrow also I am keeping the class because in between I kept one day off. So tomorrow is the last trial class, right? In case you have made up your mind to join the training, you can go to my site qtpselenium.com and there is a contact trainer section out here. There is a contact trainer section. You can send me a message, okay, that I am interested, and just send your email ID. I'll get back to you. Email ID, contact number, and other. Okay, right?